Okay, so first we're going to talk about two things in this video. The first one is why more California retirees are choosing the Inland Empire, and specifically the Inland 55 plus communities. And part of it is about navigating, the natural disasters and also shifting retirement priorities. And so with that, let's kind of go ahead and kick this off. So the first thing we need to realize is that in California, a lot of retirees like to go down to where it's warmer when we get older, like Florida, or which is one of the places that we talk about retirees going. And California has been one because they're warm climates. Except I would always choose California over Florida, mainly because I don't like the humidity and I don't like hurricanes. Okay, those are two things that come through there. So they have the humidity, they have the water and the beaches. Yes, they do. But they also have hurricanes, and they also have tornadoes, and it's humid, all those things. California is where, like, the only drawbacks in California is that it's expensive, but it's not expensive everywhere. So this video, I'm going to focus on other areas and other things that you might want to consider. So in this first part of this video, we're going to talk about things about that we can't control or events. Okay. So it's a changing landscape for California retirees because you have major wildfires, we've had industrial incidents, we've had natural events that have actually prompted many California retirees to need to understand that you need to reevaluate your living situations. For the folks that were in Palisades or Altadena, a lot of them just lost their total homes, mainly because of fire and the trees and everything. When I decided to look for my 55 and older place to retire from my retirement home, I paid attention. I like to look at the mountains, and I love the snow on the mountains. I don't ski, but I can look and enjoy those mountain views. But the next thing I wanted was to realize that I can always go to the mountaintop, but I don't have to live in the mountaintop. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, where it was cold as hell on the street corners that I was going to catch the bus to go to school. That was all the way across town. But I spent enough days freezing my ass off that I decided that when I grew up, I was going to go to some place warm. But being warm also has the things. The one things in California are fires, and they've had earthquakes. Those are the things. So we need to consider those because these events highlight the need for increased preparedness and a strong community support. So our retirement priorities have switched, and we need to understand that we actually need a retirement checklist and not letting retirement just hit us in the ass. We need to prepare just like financially and everything else. But there are other things depending on where you want to live. Here's the considerations. One, community preparedness and safety. Is your home area that you're living in can weather the storm and things? So one, we don't have a lot of trees around where I'm at. Okay, so trees catch on fire. That was one thing I was looking at. My house is not located near a river, so a river is not going to overflow and produce a flood as to where I'm at living. Okay, I am 2.5 blocks away from the closest fire department. Okay, and it's about like 10 minutes away from the police department. So we need to look at these things on the community preparedness and safety. What about access to quality health care? I personally have Kaiser, and I actually choose with Kaiser because they have more preventive maintenance on their healthcare program. But this community I live in, which is Hemet, California, has a lot of seniors. It was noted for having the most banks per square mile of any location in the United States. It has changed, and there are a younger part of the community growing in this area, mainly because of the price of California houses. So we have affordable housing. Our house right now is currently paid for. I don't have a mortgage. Why? It's because the price of the home was economical, was low enough that eventually we could pay it off by the time for retirement. So you need to have affordable housing. In our area right now, it's $2,000 a month for rent. That's here in Hemet, California. You go to Orange County or you go to San Francisco, you're going to have $4,000 to $5,000. So the average person is not going to be able to do that. How about the lower maintenance living? In our home right now, without the mortgage, all we have is our property taxes. But the other thing that we do have is utilities. Now, one drawback about Hemet is that we don't have one. Okay, we do get some rain, a little bit of rain. Okay, that's for sure. Okay, I'm not worried about floods. There's been earthquakes, but we're not near an epicenter and everything else. Okay, so those things are not there. But how about utilities? The AC, like right now I'm in July, and the temperatures do get up to triple digits, and it's going to stay that way for about 3-4 months. Now, originally, when I first moved here into our community, which is Whispering Palms, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in this video, was that I always like to average it out. I didn't like the $300, $400, $500 shock of an electric bill for running an AC and being cool. So I would have them average it out. I went to the electric company and they averaged the bill out, and I just paid the same amount each and every month. That's my first solution. But then, and I heard about solar, but wasn't familiar with it. But I eventually wound up getting solar for my home. And then again, it normalized how much I was paying. I was leasing the system. I was only paying $177. But it would go up every year at roughly 2 to 3%. But I didn't have a $400 to $500 electric bill hit me in the face. I could always run my AC the way I wanted. So inside our community, the water, sewer, and trash is already paid for. Okay, it's part of the homeowners association. So I can run my water, the sewer and trash, I don't have to worry about those. Those are stable, but it also gives me access to the clubhouse and the pool if I wanted to go ahead and do it. But the other thing I decided to do was this time I did buy solar for my current house, but this time I purchased it. And so what's going to happen, the end result, is that my electric bill, by adding the solar, reduced those bills to like electric bill of $30 a month and gas was $30 a month. I have my, the solar panels I was paying. But what we started to do was putting money aside. So this month here in July, we're paying off the solar panels. That means that my electric bill and my gas bill for my home is $60. And we have no mortgage payment. This is what I'm talking about, making a smart decision about buying a home. So if you're in like San Diego and you're in Orange County or places where you're fortunate enough your homes are in the $1 million, then great. But if you want some affordable living, once you sell that home, and I recommend that you move to the Inland Empire, okay? Because you're going to have a lower maintenance living. And that's important because a lot of the families which are in our community, this is a 55 and older, but people moved in as couples. But most of the houses are here, there's only one person live. Why? Because either the husband or the wife died. So it's important to understand that factor, that one of you are going to die first. And the question is, will the survivor be able to live without the other's income? If you both have Social Security and one dies, that Social Security goes away. So those are consideration things. Strong neighborhood connections. I live in a community where everybody knows my name. And I virtually know the name of everybody inside my community. But the one thing that living and making a right decision, and I'm cautioning about, is that you want to be able to have financial stability and peace of mind. See, I know if I would die and have a heart attack right now, that my wife is okay, and she has a home that she can live in that has everything taken care of. that she can live until she dies. Okay, so that's it. Next, so as a result of all the things I just discussed, there's a growing appeal for inland communities. Why? Because the lower home prices. This home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square feet on a 5,700-foot lot. Right now, the market value on this home is about $440,000. But if anybody walked into this home, you're going to see it's worth more than $440,000 because we got a new HVAC. We have a house fan. I have 360-degree security cameras on my house. I got solar panels. I got a house fan. I got an attic fan. I got AstroTurf. I put all the money that I would have been wasting into interest payments into concrete improvements in this home. The other thing, as a senior, we want single-story homes. No up and down the stairs that you have for a lot of multi-generational homes. We have the single-story homes. It's easy for us to walk. No issues there. Next, we're living in HOA-maintained common areas. The common areas are maintained by the HOA. That's part of that homeowners association that reduce the personal upkeep. The other thing is our property values stabilize because we don't have people living and having junk and trash all out in front of their houses and stuff. We do have recreational centers, which are in. We have a swimming pool, which is in ours, and most of these 55 and olders do have social activities. We are conveniently located and have access to shopping and medical services. But the most important thing I need to share with you is that we have less traffic than many metropolitan areas. Okay. I don't get on the expressways. There's one thing. We're in a location that it takes 25 to 30 minutes to get to a major expressway. So whenever I do go out and going on a trip, that is a bummer. But for 99% of the time, I'm not doing that. 99% of the time, it's just here. I don't want to get on the expressway. I don't want to get caught in traffic. I want to be able to go so I can get in my car and go and drive and be able to get there without looking to see what time of day it is or the traffic. So I have less traffic. So if you don't like traffic, I think you need to think about that Inland Empire. So another thing, and as we get older, then guess what? Community matters more than ever. One critical lesson about recent emergencies is the invaluable importance of knowing your neighbors. I know the names of all of my neighbors. If something in emergency happens and we're going to take accountability of where somebody else, I know who's missing. Okay. So 55 and older community it's the natural foster of the social interaction through activities where those relationships become valuable. And during unexpected situations, creating a strong support network. Now, we also should be prepared. And preparedness is personal and also community emergency. Familiarity with trust among neighbors, who we trust, emergency notification, proximity to the healthcare, ease of home maintenance and upkeep, and availability of strong social support networks. That is very important. And achieving financial peace of mind. See, in the Inland Empire, you're significantly going to reduce your monthly housing expenses, which means you're going to free up valuable home equity for other uses. You're going to gain flexibility to travel more frequently because you're paying less. You're going to increase the time spent with your grandkids and family if they're local. And you're going to you can invest in personal hobbies and passions. Like I retired from the Marines and retired from teaching, and I'm still teaching here. But the other thing is that we're going to build a larger emergency savings for future security. I'm in a financial situation now. If our air condition went out, or our water heater went out, or our heater went out, and all these things have went out since we've retired, that it was peace of mind. We didn't worry about it. It was like, okay, well, it's 20 years old, so guess what? We go get a new one. Why? Because we got the cash. We're not struggling for $1 million mortgage payments, etc. Okay. So Hemet is a leading choice for active adults. It has beautiful mountain views. It does have you can enjoy a 4-season desert climate. It is warm. Okay. We have numerous established 55 and older communities. We have local shopping and diverse dining options, which are, we do have 5-star restaurants that you can go to within 30 to 40 minutes, because our community used to go out to different restaurants in Riverside County at different places. So I could go down to Temecula for a drive. It only takes about like 35 minutes to get down there. Okay. So a major mall, like 35 minutes in either direction I can go to. Hospital facilities, medical facilities are easy to get to. And we have an active homeowner association. So those are the things which are important. So Whispering Palms, I'm going to highlight on that, and I'm going to go into another presentation. But this is a prime example of a welcoming 55 plus community in Hemet. It's known for friendly residents, attractive landscaping, active lifestyle homeowners that appreciate a strong sense of neighborhood and pride of ownership. We pride ourselves in our homes, and we take care of our property. We're not a nuisance to other people. We don't play loud music at all hours of night and having parties. We don't have people drunk and stampering all through the neighborhoods and everything else. In the last 11 years, and people say about crime, and I invite you to check one of my other videos that talks about the 17 questions that you need to ask about moving in Inland Empire. But the overall crime rate in Hemet is rated a C to a D. But in here, for our Whispering Palms, in our area, it's actually a B minus. So crime is everywhere. You can decide, oh, I want to move because of crime. Well, guess what? You're going to move to any other city. There's crime in every city in the United States. If they have a police department, there's crime. Plain and simple. Okay. But this is about Whispering Palms. Now, this is a picture that I had done with AI. That's not the actual interest, but it looks nice and everything. But I hope you get the content. We do have our palm trees, and it is nice. Our landscaping and everything else is all nice, and everything else done by HOA. So here are key questions for your retirement move. What is the overall cost of living? What emergency preparedness resources are available? How active and engaged is the community? And how active are you? Personally, me and my wife, Carolyn, we are content with where we're at. If we want to go and do activities, they're in the neighborhood and we go and do those. But for the most time, we like just being at home and having each other's company. We go to our doctor visits. We are proactive. I go to my Kaiser's. She has hers, which she uses scan, and her doctors are all in Hemet. Her doctor is about 15 minutes down the road. I get in my car and I drive to Kaiser. That's my choice. Later on, if something happens, I may change. But right now, I enjoy the drive. Okay. Are there opportunities to build friendships? Yes, there are, either in this community or inside the 55 and older community. Yes, there are. But in the overall community of the city, yes, there are. And does the community fit my long-term lifestyle goals? I can see myself living here for the rest of my life. If I didn't, I would have moved. I know a lot of people in California, they're moving to other states. I happen to love Hemet, California. And I like Whispering Palms. It's like the best kept secret, just living away. So, retirement crafting your ideal life. See, retirement is going to be more than just buying a house. It's about creating the fulfilling life that you've earned. So thoughtful decisions about your community, the preparedness, and support networks are going to be crucial for lasting comfort and joy. And we're going to cover this in our next chapter. Now, I'm Dr. Jordan Smith, and I'm a retired California educator, retired United States Marine veteran of Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm in the First Gulf War. I'm currently in my third trifecta. So I'm a retired Marine, retired teacher. And now I'm working on using my skills and experience as an AI real estate listing consultant. I'm a former HOA president of Whispering Palms. And so through Teach, Lead, and Inspire, I'm going to guide active adults in exploring 55 plus communities. So I'm creating website and resources on YouTube and everything else about 55 plus communities, about downsizing strategies, about transitioning from home to maybe assisted living, and just informed buying decisions that are across Southern California. With that, I'm Dr. Smith, and we're going to go give me a moment and take a break, and we're going to go into the next section. Okay. This segment, the rest of the video, I'm going to speak specifically about Whispering Palms because this is a place where neighbors becomes friends. And it's a community that this is something that needs to be considered beyond the price and everything else for a place where you live. And I'm going to draw this back because this is should actually relate to anyone which is watching this video. There's a TV show called Cheers. And on that TV show, that you had a lot of well-known comics and actually started in that show, like Danny DeVito, that was in Taxi, all these type of shows and stuff. But that one, I remember it so much was because of the theme song. And it says about where everybody knows your name. And I just love that song. And it stuck with me for like 30, 40, 50 years. Everyone wants that. I remember I lived in apartments. I may have known the person to the left or the right of me. I did not know the names of anybody that lived right across the hall or right across to the next building. I didn't know their names. Okay. I do remember, like, for instance, when I was at the Naval Academy, of course, I knew my roommates. And we would converse, and we knew each other. We had each other's back. Okay. Then I bought other homes that were in areas. We bought corner homes that I didn't know the names. Like today, I couldn't tell you the name of the neighbor that was to my right. I do know the name of the neighbor that was across the street because Sue happened to have been a school teacher in my same school district. So we knew each other. And plus, I have a memory because every year around Halloween, her home would be TP'd. Okay, so that was the extent. There was another home. We moved out of that neighborhood to a newer home because we needed more space. Again, it was another corner house. I knew our neighbors that were to the right. I can vividly remember their faces right now, but I just knew that at first things were okay, but it turned into a nightmare. It really turned into a nightmare with that neighbor that was living next door. So, but this was different. And I moved here in 2015, and I've been here now for 11 years. My wife has been here since 2004, so over 22 years that we have lived here in this community. And we love it here. Now, if we would uproot our house right now and move it to Orange County, and we looked at it because we were thinking about getting closer to the relatives, that house, that we would have to pay about $1.8 million in order to have the same home that we have now. Okay, and so economically, it just not make a difference. But there are other reasons. Okay, we know in our home, in our district, in our community, there's 129 homes. We know who the assholes are, and we stay away from them. I have to joke. And I know the names of the assholes. I just do not want to be with them. And that's okay. We don't have to have the same beliefs. But I actually love is my neighbors that are around my home. See, I know the names of my next door neighbor, and they know our names. Okay, we have been over to each other's houses. We've been out on social things. I know the neighbors which are all the way over here to our left. I know which ones are sick, which ones are having mobility issues. I know the ladies across the street. I know all the way down. I know the names of all of the people which are in those homes going straight up the street. I walk in this community. So, but what makes it different? And this is something that you need to put a price on, is you can have a great home, but if your neighborhood and the people around you are trash, you're going to have a miserable time and you can't wait to sell. We are not in a rush to sell our home. Not interested. We're perfect. We're good. Okay, so let's talk about what makes Whispering Palms the place where neighbors become friends. It is a retirement living, which is luxury as far as I'm concerned. So, see, we need to understand that where we live should be more than just a house. And for many of us approaching retirement, a home becomes about finding belonging and connections, not just square footage. It's about community where neighbors should actually become friends. And we want to be able to search for that true community. So it's not just about the price, which is excellent. You save a lot of money. You're looking for an economic more place to live. If you're in Orange County or Riverside or San Diego, and you're thinking about downsizing, getting ready, you don't have to completely downsize. I have 1,800 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath on 5,700 square foot lot. But more importantly, this is a place where I belong. It's beyond my address. See, I have neighbors that are in front of me, behind me, etc., who smile, who I have familiar faces on morning or the evening walks. It is a community where people notice and they look out for another. Like my neighbor, when they're getting ready to go out of the community for an extended time, they let us know. And if they drive out and I happen to see their garage door has been open for several hours, because I care, I'll call them and say, did you know that you have left your garage open? A lot of times they didn't know. See, one of the things that we all have that I started in the community is that when my former wife had died and I was getting up, leaving by myself, sometimes I would forget about closing the garage and my neighbors call. So that's why I got a my queue. And now all of us have a my queue in our garage, so that when they left the garage open, I call them and they just pick up their cell phone and hit the button and they close the garage. That's because we care. Sometimes they are expecting a delivery that came earlier than expected and it's on their doorstep and they don't want it up and out. See, we do have a gated community, but a lot of that is security and visual. It's a visual security. It doesn't prevent someone who really wants to get in from hopping over the fence. But sometimes we have a delivery of something that's expensive that we don't want sitting out. And all we do is call up our neighbor. Hey, could you mind checking to see if this Amazon package got? And guess what? We go over and pick it up, keep it in our homes. That's what neighbors are. That's what we want. That is priceless. See, I want to live in a community where people notice something or look out for one another. If I see someone going over to my neighbor's home that I know my neighbors that is there or trying to break in or anything, I know who they are. So guess what? I'm going to call the police or whatever, because I know who they are, because I would want them to do that for me. So we want to live in a community where people notice and they look out for one another. And the daily connections that make life richer and more meaningful. Me and my wife walk every night unless it's just too unbearable for hot. But as we walk, there's certain neighbors that we see are walking. And as we walk, we always say hi and everything else too. And we can do that. Peace of mind. Those are the daily connections that make life richer and more meaningful. And you can't put a price, and you cannot identify it by the price of the home that you chose to live in. The other thing is beyond the HOA rules. So yes, we have HOA, the Homeowners Association. We have a board of directors. We have a board of directors that are chosen by the membership. And when I first moved here, I didn't want to have anything to do with it because I was working. And so from 2015 until about 2022, I was not involved. But after the pandemic, I did get involved, and I became the vice president and also the homeowner association president. And I would not wish that task on anybody. Somebody's got to do the job. If you want to do it, beware. Your life would change. But my life has been totally different when I was not on the board and on the board. And so my recommendation for anyone that's thinking about it, I said, don't do it. And I'm just being honest and upfront. Some of you like to do that. You have ample opportunities for you can volunteer. Okay. But I decided that I didn't want to be a listening ear for people to complain about everything, because the truth is you can't please everybody. So, but what the HOA does do this, and whoever's been on the board, I'm going to say this, they manage the property. When something is broke, they get it fixed. And that's what the HOA board does. So the best communities will create opportunities for genuine connections. So we have a clubhouse event. We don't have as many activities as we used to because our average community member has gotten older. But the main thing really is because we still have a lot of the people. It used to be that people would move in that were retired. But now we got people moving in, which are 55 and older, but they're still working. Either one or two of them are working. So as a result, when we're talking about activities, they're not willing to participate because they're tired. When I was working full-time in the Marines or full-time as a teacher, when Friday came, it was the time to relax. And did I want to get up and go to some community function on a Saturday? Nope, not me, because that was my time to chill. But the clubhouse is there for events, and it is there for friendships. And it is a place because neighbors become trusted friends. And that for that reason, we do have that, and that's important. Now, so it's important to understand is that with the right community, there's a priceless value of neighborhood bonds. I live again for the third time in a row, and the third time in my lifetime in a corner house. But the other two experiences on a corner house were nightmares. This one is peaceful, it's quiet, and I love my neighbors, and we all know each other's names. So we have daily connections that sometimes people, they miss those connections. We have some neighbors which are living in their homes that in our community that has no communications and don't know the names of their neighbors. Okay. But that's by choice. But we do have volunteer opportunities in the Hemet community because for the most part, it is a retirement community. You have a lot of 55 plus home areas that are in here. Okay. But what it really is that I realize that the small moments that build a richer life is mainly because I do have a connected life. Me and the wife, we go to concert tribute bands. We have the Saboba Casino that we go to for events. We have other communities, 55 and older, like the Golden Palms Valley Resort that has tribute bands. We have the Hemet Historical Theater, which has tribute bands and activities and stuff. There are 5-star restaurants within 35 minutes of where I'm at. So there are places that we can go to. So a supportive community that you can trust. See, strong communities will always provide comfort and support during your life's challenges and for emergencies to health issues. See, I know that I can call any of my neighbors if there's a health emergency in my home that I can't handle. And I also know that they know that if there's a health emergency with them, they can call one of us to help them. And knowing your neighbors creates that invaluable safety net that's built on kindness and shared experiences. Now, what's the difference? One thing is, like, for instance, there are a lot of assisted living facilities in our area. But the cost, currently right now, we have no mortgage payment. Only thing we have is our property taxes that we pay, which is roughly about $4,000 a year. To go into an assisted living facility, it's going to cost $4,000 a month. And we're paying $4,000 a year. That's what living here really makes a difference, is that you can actually become mortgage free and actually be able to live a life. And if you want to go travel, you can go travel. And because you know that you have friendly neighbors that's going to have your back and watch out for your property while you're gone. So here's the things that makes the Whispering Palm difference. It's a neighborhood where residents take pride in their community, where beautifully maintained streets. We have mountain views, and we're close enough. You want to go and touch that snow, you can go do it. But most valuable part are the people, the conversations, and the friendships. See, a true sense of belonging that goes beyond any floor plan. See, retirement is about life's next chapter. So choosing where to retire is a significant decision where practicalities matter. Ask yourself, can I picture building meaningful relationships here? It's about enjoying freedom with people who make your life richer. So discover your new home at Whispering Palms. I invite you to visit, walk the neighborhood, meet our residents, and experience firsthand that the true value of Whispering Palms is going to be found in welcoming, valued people who make this community feel like home. So I am Dr. Jordan Smith. I am a California real estate professional in the making. I'm a retired United States Marine. I retired as a high school teacher in San Jacinto. This is right here in this next area. You get Hemet in San Jacinto. I'm the former HOA president of Whispering Palms, where I currently live. I share educational resources on 55 plus communities and retirement living. And I empower buyers to make informed decisions. I was a former Amazon Future Engineer Teacher of the Year and Teacher Ambassador from 2023 to 2026. I'm currently working on designing, AI era marketing tools for homeowners and also for realtors. I am in the process of getting my real estate license. And this is one of the techniques that I'm using to market properties. And that's why I'm doing the video. But first of all, the reason I'm doing these videos now is that I noticed that where I had neighbors that had their homes sitting on the market and not selling. And then when I did my research, like going to Google and typing in Whispering Palms, I didn't get a pretty picture. Matter of fact, the problem was there was nothing there. Okay. Then I realized here's the same old thing. If you don't tell your story, somebody else will. So I love our neighborhood, and I want someone else who wants to have the same thing that I did to be able to have it. So right now, I'm not licensed, but there are properties that are in here for sale. And I'm going to show that on my videos. I have a monthly video that's talking about the homes that are for sale in our community. And I'm going to continue to do that. And then when I get my license here in about the next 6 to 8 weeks after I do my coursework, then I hope you consider me as an opportunity for being your agent if you want to buy or sell. And you're going to always be able to know what's available because I'm always going to have these videos available about Whispering Palms. And for that, I'm Dr. Jordan Smith. I hope you have a safe weekend and everything else. I know that we've had some fires in here again in California. We had a fire just over here by a brush fire in the field about 8 days ago. But I'm content is because we have a fire department that's 2.5 blocks away. And I was pleased to see that when the fire broke out in this field, there were 15 engine trucks that were either on the north or on both sides of the fire. Then that would happen within 30 minutes. So I felt safe of knowing. And matter of fact, on the positive side, if it burns, then that means there's nothing to burn. This is Dr. Smith. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much.